My hands are shaking as I press the blood-soaked cloth against his chest. The hospital gurney rattles beneath him, fluorescent lights blurring overhead as we rush down the corridor. His hand, strong, tattooed, covered in his own blood, suddenly grips my wrist with surprising force. "You," he breathes, his dark eyes fighting to focus on my face. "What's your name?" I shouldn't answer. I should step back, let the doctors take over, disappear into my ordinary life. But those eyes, God, those eyes, hold me captive. Even now, barely conscious, there's something commanding about him, something that makes my heart race for reasons that have nothing to do with the adrenaline. "Lily," I whisper. "Lily?" he repeats, like he's memorizing it, like he's claiming it. Then his eyes close, and the machine starts screaming, and I'm being pulled away by hands I don't see. But I hear him, even as they wheel him through the surgical doors. I hear him say my name one more time. I didn't know then that my life had just ended and begun in the same moment. I didn't know I just saved the most dangerous man in the city. Backstory: 3 weeks earlier, the dinner rush at Centauro's was hell, as always. I balanced 3 plates on my left arm, 2 more in my right hand, weaving through tables packed with tourists who didn't understand that a 15% tip wasn't acceptable anymore. My feet ached in the cheap shoes I couldn't afford to replace, and I'd already been yelled at twice. Once by the chef for putting in an order wrong. Once by a customer who swore he'd asked for his steak well done when I had medium rare written clear as day on my pad. "Lily, table 7 needs water," Marco shouted from behind the bar. "On it." I delivered the plates, forced a smile at the tourists who didn't even look up from their phones, and grabbed the water pitcher. This was my life. This had been my life for 3 years, ever since I'd fled Ohio with nothing but a backpack and a desperate need to disappear. My apartment was a 4th-floor walk-up in a neighborhood where the police sirens were like a lullaby. My roommate was never home, which was good because she was a drug dealer, which was bad. I sent half my tips back to my little sister in foster care, saving up to get her out when she turned 18 next year. The other half went to rent, ramen, and the online classes I took at night, chasing a nursing degree that felt further away every time I checked my bank account. I was 24 and exhausted, but I was free, and that was worth everything. "Lily," Marco again. Table 12. Table 12 sat in the back corner, the private booth we reserved for VIPs. I'd been working here 6 months and had never been asked to serve it before. Usually, Marco himself handled it, or sometimes Tony, the manager. "You sure?" I called back. "They asked for you specifically." That sent a chill down my spine. Nobody knew me here. I'd made sure of that. I grabbed my pad and headed toward the booth, my pulse quickening with each step. The lighting was dim back here, intimate. As I approached, I could make out 3 figures, 2 large men standing like sentries, and one sitting in the center of the booth. Him. I didn't know his name yet, but I felt him before I saw him. He was looking down at his phone, and even in that casual posture, there was something about him that commanded attention. Dark hair swept back, sharp jawline shadowed with stubble, a suit that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. His fingers, long, elegant, deadly, moved across the screen with practiced ease. Then he looked up. Our eyes met, and the world tilted. His eyes were dark, not just brown, but almost black, like polished obsidian. They swept over me with an intensity that made me feel stripped bare, seen in a way I hadn't been in years. His expression didn't change. He didn't smile, but something flickered in those depths, something that made my breath catch. "You're Lily." It wasn't a question. Yes. Can I get you something to drink?" One of the guards, a mountain of a man with a scar down his cheek, stepped forward. "Mr. Moretti will have—" "I'll tell her myself, Dante." His voice was smooth, controlled, with just the hint of an Italian accent warming certain words. He never took his eyes off me. Whiskey, neat, top shelf. I scribbled it down with shaking hands. "And for just me, Dante, Marco, leave us." My heart stopped. "I don't think they'll be right outside." He gestured to the booth across from him. "Sit. I'm working. I own this restaurant, Lily. Sit." The way he said my name, like he was tasting it, sent heat flooding through me. This was dangerous. Everything about this man screamed danger, but my traitorous body sank into the booth anyway. My pad clutched like a shield. "You don't recognize me," he said, still watching me with that unnerving intensity. "Should I?" A smile ghosted across his lips. Not warm, exactly. More intrigued. "Most people in this city do. I'm Alessandro Moretti." The name meant nothing to me. I'd made a point of not learning the local power players, not getting involved. "I'm not from here originally." "Where then?" "Does it matter?" "Everything about you matters." I stood abruptly. "I'll get your whiskey." His hand shot out, wrapping around my wrist, not painfully, but firm enough to stop me. The contact sent electricity racing up my arm. His skin was warm, his touch surprisingly gentle, despite the obvious strength in those fingers. "Don't run from me, Piccola, little one. I've been watching you for weeks." Terror and something else, something I didn't want to name, warred in my chest. That's not comforting. It should be. I don't watch just anyone. He released me slowly, his fingers trailing against my pulse point. "You're different. You don't see me the way others do." "I don't see you at all." Liar. But he said it almost fondly. "Go, get my drink. But you'll come back, Lily. We're not done." I fled to the bar on shaking legs. The encounter. I brought him his whiskey with steady hands, a skill I'd perfected over 3 years of waitressing while terrified. Alessandro Moretti sat exactly as I'd left him, phone dark now, his full attention on me as I approached. "Your drink." I set it down, careful not to touch him. "Sit." I really shouldn't. "Lily?" My name again, wrapped in warning and promise. I don't like repeating myself. I sat. He lifted the glass, took a slow sip, his eyes never leaving mine over the rim. "Tell me about yourself." "There's nothing to tell. Everyone has a story." "Mine's boring. Try me." I glanced toward the dining room, desperate for an excuse to leave. But Marco was watching from the bar, and he gave me a subtle nod. "Serve him, whatever he wants." Of course, Alessandro Moretti owned the restaurant, probably owned half the block. "I'm a waitress," I said finally. "I work here 6 days a week. I'm taking online classes. That's it." "What are you studying?" "Nursing." Something shifted in his expression. "You want to help people?" "I want a steady paycheck." Another lie. He set down his glass. You jumped in front of a drunk customer last week when he tried to hit Marco. You gave your dinner to a homeless woman outside 3 days ago. You helped the new busboy with his English every night after closing. He leaned forward, and suddenly the space between us felt impossibly small. You have a kind heart, Lily, in this city that makes you rare, precious. My throat tightened. You've been stalking me, protecting you. I don't need protection. Everyone needs protection, especially someone like you, living in that neighborhood, walking home alone at 2 a.m. Anger flared, hot and defensive. Someone like me? You don't know anything about me. I know you're running from something. His voice dropped, intimate and knowing. I know you look over your shoulder every time a man gets too close. I know you flinch when someone raises their voice. I know you're afraid. I stood, my chair scraping back. This conversation is over. I'd taken 2 steps when he spoke again, soft but absolute. His name was Derek. I froze. Your ex-boyfriend. The reason you left Ohio. Alessandra's voice carried no judgment, only facts. He put you in the hospital twice. The police did nothing, so you ran. You've been hiding for 3 years. Tears burned my eyes. I turned slowly. Stay away from me. But he was standing now, moving around the table with predatory grace. He stopped just close enough that I could smell him. Expensive cologne, leather, and something uniquely him that made my head spin. I'm not him, Lily. His voice was gentle now, devastatingly so. I would never hurt you. You're a criminal. Yes. The honesty shocked me. I've done terrible things, he continued. I'll probably do more, but never to you, never to someone innocent. His hand rose, and I flinched. He stopped immediately, pain flashing across his features. You see, you're afraid, and I hate that. I hate that someone made you this way. Why do you care? I don't know. And for the first time, he sounded uncertain. I saw you a month ago. You were outside, feeding stray cats in the alley. You didn't know anyone was watching. You were talking to them, telling them everything would be okay. His jaw tightened. I haven't been able to think about anything else since. That's insane. Yes, he smiled, and it transformed his face. Still dangerous, but breathtaking. But here we are. I should run. Everything logical in me screamed to run, but I didn't. What do you want from me? I whispered. Everything. He said it simply, like it was obvious. But I'll start with dinner. A real one. Not here. I can't. Tomorrow night, I'll send a car. I don't. Please. The word hung between us. A man like him didn't say please. I could see it cost him. One dinner, I heard myself say. That's all? His smile widened. One dinner. I turned to leave, my heart racing. Lily? I looked back. Where's something beautiful? I want to spoil you. The car that arrived the next night was a black Mercedes with tinted windows. The driver, one of Alessandra's guards, I assumed, opened the door without a word. I'd agonized over what to wear, finally settling on the only dress I owned that wasn't for work. A simple navy blue number I'd bought at a thrift store. I felt woefully underdressed when we pulled up to Castello's, the most expensive restaurant in the city. Alessandro was waiting at the entrance. He wore a black suit, crisp white shirt, open at the collar, no tie. His hair was slightly mussed, like he'd run his hands through it. When he saw me, his expression shifted into something I couldn't quite read. hunger, possession, reverence. Bellissima, he murmured, offering his hand. Beautiful. I took it, and his fingers closed around mine, like a promise. The restaurant staff greeted him with bows, and Mr. Moretti, and right this way, sir. We were led to a private room overlooking the city, just the two of us, and candles and wine that probably cost more than my monthly rent. This is too much, I said as he pulled out my chair. This is the beginning. He sat across from me, his eyes reflecting the candlelight. Order anything you want. I'm not hungry. Liar. But he said it warmly. You're nervous. Wouldn't you be? If I were having dinner with me? Absolutely. He poured wine, red, rich, probably older than me. But you're safe, Lily, always with me. Why does that sound more like a threat than a promise? Because you're smart. He raised his glass. To honesty. I clinked mine against his, took a sip, and nearly moaned. It was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Tell me something real, he said. Something you've never told anyone. Why would I do that? Because I'll do the same. I studied him across the table. This dangerous, beautiful man who'd upended my life. You first, he smiled. Fair. He set down his glass, his expression growing distant. My father was the head of the Moretti family. When I was 16, I watched his brother, my uncle, put a bullet in his head over a disagreement about territory. My uncle thought he'd take over. He thought I was too young, too soft. His eyes refocused on me, hard as diamonds. I killed him 3 days later. I've been running this family ever since. I should be horrified. I should leave. How old are you now? I asked instead. 34. 18 years of this life. Yes. Do you regret it? Killing my uncle? No. He was a monster. But this life, he looked at his hands, those elegant killer's hands. Some days I wonder what I would have been if I'd had a choice. An architect, maybe. I like building things, creating something permanent. The vulnerability in his voice cracked something open in my chest. My turn? I asked softly. Please. My sister's name is Rose. She's 17. I raised her after our mom died when I was 19. When Derek, I swallowed hard. When it got bad, I knew I had to leave, but I couldn't take her. She was only 14, and I had nothing. No money, no plan. So I called CPS myself. I told them she wasn't safe with me. Tears slipped down my cheeks. She hated me for it. She still does, but she's alive and safe, and I'm working to get her out next year when she's 18. That's why I work 6 days a week. That's why I can't afford to go on dates or have a life. Everything I have goes to saving for her. Alessandro was around the table before I could blink, pulling me into his arms. I stiffened, but he just held me, his hand stroking my hair with infinite gentleness. You're not alone anymore, he whispered against my temple. Do you hear me? Lily, you're not alone. I shouldn't believe him. I shouldn't let myself hope, but God help me, I did. Rising tension. The next 3 weeks were a blur of stolen moments. Alessandro sent flowers to the restaurant every day. Not roses, but lilies. White, pure, with notes that said things like, thinking of you, and you haunt my dreams. And once, simply, mine. He showed up at closing, his Mercedes idling at the curb, and drove me home despite my protests. He never tried to come up to my apartment. He just walked me to the door, his hand at the small of my back, his guards watching from the shadows. You don't have to do this, I said, the fifth night. Yes, I do. Why? He turned me to face him, his hands framing my face. Because the thought of you walking these streets alone makes me violent. Because I need to know you're safe. Because you're mine, Lily. Even if you don't believe it yet. I'm not yours. Keep telling yourself that, Piccola. His thumb brushed my lower lip, and my breath hitched. But we both know it's a lie. He was right. God, he was right. I thought about him constantly. During shifts, I'd catch myself looking for him in the dining room. At night, alone in my apartment, I'd remember the way he said my name, the way his hands felt, rough but gentle, powerful but controlled. He texted me every morning, "Good morning, beautiful. Did you sleep well?" And every night, "Sweet dreams, Lily. I'll see you tomorrow." He learned my schedule, my favorite foods, my coffee order. He sent groceries to my apartment when he noticed I was living on ramen. He paid my sister's foster family to get her a new laptop for school. And when I confronted him, he just smiled and said, "She's important to you. That makes her important to me." "You can't buy me," I told him. "I'm not trying to buy you, amore. I'm trying to take care of you. There's a difference." But I was falling, terrifyingly, irrevocably falling. 2 weeks in, he invited me to his club. Inferno was exclusive, notorious, and allegedly the headquarters for his operations. I'd heard the name whispered at the restaurant. It was where power brokers and criminals and politicians all mingled in the dark. I shouldn't be there, I protested when his driver picked me up. You should be wherever I am. The club was everything I'd imagined. Dark, seductive, pulsing with music that felt like a heartbeat. Alessandro kept me close, his hand possessive on my waist as we walked through the crowd. People parted for him like the Red Sea, their eyes dropping in deference. We went upstairs to a private balcony overlooking the dance floor, just the two of us. You're tense, he said, pouring champagne. Everyone's looking at us. They're looking at you, wondering who you are. He handed me a glass, wondering how you manage to capture the man everyone says has no heart. Do you have a heart? He moved closer, backing me against the railing. I didn't think so, not until you. Alessandro. His name felt dangerous on my tongue. Say it again. His voice dropped to a growl. I love hearing my name from your lips. This is crazy. Yes. He set our glasses aside, his hands finding my waist. But I'm a selfish man, Lily, and I want you, all of you. Your smiles, your kindness, your strength. His forehead touched mine. Your fear, your pain, your healing. I want to be the one who makes you feel safe again. You can't promise that. Watch me. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was possession, claiming, years of loneliness and violence seeking solace in the only soft thing he'd ever wanted. His hands gripped my waist hard enough to bruise, and I didn't care. I kissed him back with everything I had, 3 years of fear melting away in the heat of his mouth. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. You're mine, he rasped. Say it. I can't. Say it, Lily. I'm yours, I whispered. His eyes blazed with triumph and something deeper. And I'm yours, only yours. Do you understand? Everything I am, everything I have, it's all yours. He kissed me again, slower this time, tender in a way that made my chest ache. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine, his breathing ragged. "I've never felt this before," he admitted. "I don't know how to be gentle with what I want, but I'm trying. For you, I'm trying." "I know," I whispered, my hands fisted in his shirt. "I see you, Alessandro. Not the Mafia boss, not the killer. I see you." "Then you're braver than anyone I've ever met." But the world wasn't done with us yet. 3 days later, I was leaving work when a black SUV pulled up. Not Alessandro's car. Different. Wrong. 2 men got out, and I knew immediately. I'd seen this before with Derek. The predatory walk, the cold smiles. "Lily Mitchell?" the first one asked. I ran. They caught me in the alley, slammed me against the brick wall. Pain exploded through my skull. "Moretti's whore," one of them hissed. "Did you think we wouldn't notice?" "I don't..." A fist to my stomach cut off my words. I crumpled, gasping. "Giancarlo sends his regards. Wants you to give Moretti a message. Stay out of the docks, or next time we take more than his pretty little toy." They were going to kill me. I could see it in their eyes. Then gunshots split the night. The men dropped, blood blooming on their chests. I screamed, stumbling backward, and then Alessandro was there. He vaulted over their bodies, his gun still raised, his face a mask of cold fury. "Lily." He holstered the weapon, his hands on my face, my arms, checking for injuries. "Did they hurt you? Tell me. Did they fucking touch you?" "I'm okay," I choked out. "You're bleeding." I touched my head, saw crimson on my fingers. "Dante," Alessandro roared, and suddenly his guards were there. "Get the car, now. Hospital. Move." "Alessandro, don't." His voice broke. "Don't tell me you're fine. Don't tell me this is okay. I promised you'd be safe, and you saved me." He pulled me against his chest, his heart hammering against my ear. "I almost lost you. Do you understand? I almost fucking lost you. I'm here. I'm okay." He kissed my hair, my forehead, my cheeks. "You're moving in with me, tonight. I don't care if you argue. You're done with that apartment, that neighborhood. You're staying where I can protect you." "That's not negotiable." He pulled back, his eyes blazing. "You're mine, Lily, and I protect what's mine. Always." The conflict. Alessandro's penthouse was a fortress. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, marble floors, furniture that looked like art, and guards. So many guards. "This is too much," I protested as he led me to the master bedroom. "This is the bare minimum." He set me on the bed, disappeared into the bathroom, and returned with a first aid kit. "Let me see your head." I sat still while he cleaned the cut with gentle hands, his jaw tight with barely controlled rage. "Who were they?" I asked. "Giancarlo's men, the Vitale family. They've been pushing into my territory." His fingers trembled slightly as he applied a bandage. "I'll handle it." "Handle it how?" "You don't want to know." "Alessandro, I'm going to kill them." He said it flatly. "All of them. They touched you, Lily. They die." "That's justice." He cupped my face, his eyes burning. "You're the only good thing in my life, the only pure thing, and they tried to take you from me. There's no mercy for that. I should be horrified. Instead, I felt safe, protected." "I'm scared," I admitted. "Of me Of this, of what you make me feel. His expression softened. And what do I make you feel? Too much. Tears spilled over. I can't breathe when you're not around. I think about you constantly. You've taken over my entire life, and I don't know how to. He kissed me, deep and desperate. That's how I feel, he whispered against my lips. Every second of every day. You've ruined me, Lily. I was cold, controlled. Now I'm a fucking mess because of you. We barely know each other. I know you're strong. I know you're kind. I know you see past the monster to the man. His hands tangled in my hair. I know I'd burn this entire city to keep you safe. What else matters? Sanity? He laughed, and the sound was broken and beautiful. Too late for that, amore. He laid me back on the bed, his body covering mine, and kissed me until I couldn't remember why I'd been afraid. His hands explored with reverence my face, my neck, the curve of my waist. When his fingers found the hem of my shirt, I froze. We don't have to, he said immediately. I just want to hold you, to know you're here, you're safe. Stay with me, I whispered. Always. He kicked off his shoes, stripped down to his undershirt and pants, and pulled me into his arms. I pressed my face against his chest, listening to his heartbeat, and for the first time in 3 years, I felt completely safe. I'm falling in love with you, I confessed into the darkness. His arms tightened around me. I'm already there, Piccola. I've been there since the moment you smiled at those stray cats, and I realized the world could still be beautiful. But the next morning, reality crashed back in. I woke alone, the bed cold, where Alessandro had been. I found him in his office, surrounded by guards, looking at security footage on a dozen screens. Alessandro? He turned, and the man looking at me was the Mafia boss. Cold, calculating, dangerous. You need to go back to Ohio. My heart stopped. What? The Vitale family knows about you now. As long as you're here, you're a target. He stood, but didn't approach. I've arranged a safe house in Cleveland, new identity, security detail. You'll be protected. You're sending me away. I'm keeping you alive. No. I marched forward, fury burning through the fear. You don't get to decide this. You don't get to say you love me and then ship me off like Lily dash dash. I'm not running again. My voice cracked. I've been running for 3 years. I'm done. If you want me gone, you say it. You tell me you don't want me here. Of course I want you here. His control splintered, anguish bleeding through. But wanting you isn't enough. They'll come for you again. They'll use you to get to me. And I can't. His fist slammed into the desk. I can't watch you die, Lily. I can't. Then don't make me leave. I took his face in my hands. I choose this. I choose you. Whatever comes. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. You're scared. So am I. But I'm not leaving you, Alessandro. Not unless you tell me you don't love me. I do love you. The words ripped from him. That's why I have to let you go. That's not love. That's fear. I kissed him, tasting salt. His tears are mine. I didn't know. Love stays. Love fights. So fight for me. He broke, pulling me against him with desperate strength. I'm no good for you. I don't care. I'll fail you. Then fail, but don't send me away. He kissed me like I was oxygen and he was drowning. You stubborn, impossible woman. Is that a yes? It's a promise that if anything happens to you, I'll raze this city to the ground. Then we better make sure nothing happens to me. The climax. The attack came 2 nights later. I was in Alessandro's bedroom, our bedroom now, reading while he finished a call downstairs. The windows exploded inward in a hail of gunfire. I dropped to the floor, glass raining down, my ears ringing. Shouts erupted from below. More gunfire, screams. The door burst open. I scrambled backward, but it was Dante, blood streaking his face. Miss Mitchell, we need to move. Now. Where's Alessandro? Holding them off. Come on. He pulled me into the hallway. The penthouse was chaos. Guards shooting. Smoke filling the air. Bodies on the marble floors. Dante shoved me into a hidden panic room. But before the door could close, I saw him. Alessandro, surrounded by 4 men, his gun empty, a knife in his hand. No, I lunged, but Dante held me back. He'll kill me if I let you. I bit his hand. He yelped, and I was through the door, running toward Alessandro. Lily, get back, he roared. One of the men turned, raised his gun at Alessandro's back. I didn't think. I just ran. The bullet hit me in the shoulder, spinning me around. Pain, white hot, all-consuming, exploded through me. I hit the ground hard. Lily! Alessandro's roar was inhuman. I heard the wet sounds of his knife finding flesh again and again. Screams cut short. Then he was lifting me, his hands on my face, my shoulder, blood, so much blood, soaking through my shirt. Stay with me, he begged. Please, amore, stay with me. You're okay? I'm fine. You're fine. You're going to be fine. But his voice was breaking, his hands shaking. Why did you do that? Why would you? Love, I managed. Stays. His forehead pressed to mine. Don't leave me, please. I can't do this without you. Not leaving. Everything went black. I woke up 3 days later. The hospital room was filled with flowers, all lilies. Alessandro sat beside my bed, his hand wrapped around mine, his head bowed like he was praying. Alessandro? He jerked upright, his eyes red-rimmed and wild. Lily, thank God, thank God. What? You were shot. You jumped in front of a bullet meant for me. His voice was hoarse. The doctors said if it had hit an inch to the left, you'd be dead. Do you understand? You almost died for me. Worth it, I whispered. No. He stood, his control shattering. You don't get to say that. You don't get to throw your life away for mine. I'm not worth it, Lily. I'm a killer, a criminal. You're good and pure, and I love you. He stopped. I love you, I repeated. And love doesn't do math, Alessandro. It doesn't calculate worth. I saw that gun, and all I knew was that I couldn't let you die, so I jumped, and I'd do it again. He collapsed into the chair, his face in his hands. His shoulders shook with silent sobs. I reached out with my good arm, threading my fingers through his hair. Hey, look at me. He raised his head, and I'd never seen him look so broken. I'm okay, I said. We're okay. I love you. The words tumbled out like a confession. I love you so much, it terrifies me. I've killed men without blinking, but the thought of losing you brings me to my knees. You're not losing me. Promise me. He gripped my hand like a lifeline. Promise me you'll never do something that stupid again. Only if you promise the same. A wet laugh escaped him. You're impossible. You like it. I love it. I love you. He kissed my palm, my wrist, my fingertips. Marry me. I blinked. What? Marry me, Lily. Be mine in every way that matters. Let me spend the rest of my life protecting you, spoiling you, loving you. That's insane. We've known each other a month. I knew after one night. I've just been waiting for you to catch up. He smiled through his tears. Say yes. I should say no. I should be reasonable. Yes, I whispered. His kiss was reverent, claiming, and full of promises. Resolution. 6 months later, I stood in Alessandro's, our penthouse, looking out at the city lights. The war with the Vitale family had ended 3 months ago. Alessandro had crushed them utterly, taking their territory and their power. He'd told me the details, never hiding what he was, and I'd accepted it because the man who held me at night was gentle. The man who read to me when I had nightmares was patient. The man who'd flown my sister Rose in for a surprise visit was kind. He was both the monster and the man, and I loved all of him. Mrs. Moretti, a voice murmured against my ear. I smiled, leaning back into Alessandro's embrace. The ring on my finger caught the light, a lily made of diamonds, because he was nothing if not dramatic. I'll never get tired of hearing that, I admitted. Good, because I plan to say it every day for the next 60 years. His hand splayed across my stomach, protective and possessive. How are you feeling? Good, tired. The doctor said that's normal. I turned in his arms, looking up at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd stolen my heart. Are you ready for this? Really ready? To be a father? Wonder softened his features. Terrified. But with you? I'm ready for anything. Even dirty diapers? Even that. He kissed my forehead. You gave me a life, Lily. A real one. Everything I am, everything I have, it's yours. You and our baby.